In this video, the Bitcoin price is currently breaking out of this symmetrical triangle sooner than I expected. I want to talk about the target that is all the way up here, and I want to share my opinion about whether we're going to reach this target or not, and if there are any bigger resistance zones that we need to pay attention to. And also, the halving is coming up in less than 18 days, and the halving mentions are spiking on Twitter and in crypto media. And also in this video, Raoul Pal says that Bitcoin will go to $1 million within the next 5 years. I want to show you his reasoning behind this price prediction, and I'm also going to share my thoughts why I think that this is probably a little bit too optimistic. And if you think that that sounds interesting, then I think that you should definitely watch this video. Hello guys, and welcome to the moon. My name is Carl and I'm here to bring you this cryptocurrency video. And I want to talk about this breakout that happened yesterday. And this comes as an update for everyone who watched my video yesterday. This one, big Bitcoin breakout from this symmetrical triangle. And first off, I just want to thank everyone who liked this video. And also remember, I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers before the halving. And the halving is coming up now in less than 18 days. Let's see if I can reach 100,000 before 18 days. So if you haven't done it already, please click subscribe down below. I highly appreciate it. Alright, so basically what I said in yesterday's video was that we have this convergence of support and resistance, these two yellow lines, and eventually we have to break out. Now, just like I said yesterday, this is a neutral pattern. A symmetrical triangle is a neutral pattern, which means that it's a basically 50 chance to break up and a 50% to break down. And the target, if we break up, is measured like this. And now I'm going to put it at the point of the breakout, and you will see that the target is approximately $8.7 thousand. Yeah, so far so good. We have seen a big volume candle come in, which does indicate that this was a powerful breakout. Of course, I would have loved some more follow through on the volume now, but then again, this is something that can increase in the next few hours and days here. But so far, so good. This is a actual breakout. This is not a fake out. However, I do want to point out that we are running into this green resistance zone, and if I zoom out, it will become very clear to everyone why this zone is very key for the Bitcoin macro trend. So, and I think now you can see that ever since way back here in May and June 2019, we've seen support, and then we saw support right there back in October of 2019. And by the way, this green resistance area is from 7,600 down to $7,500 approximately. And here you can see also how we had resistance back in December 2019, and you can also see that when Bitcoin finally broke down below it here, at that point we can see that Bitcoin, this waterfall drop escalated quickly. So technically we can clearly see how this resistance zone is very significant, and this is significant from a macro standpoint. So as long as Bitcoin is below this resistance, then we need to keep in mind that there will take a lot of strength to break through here. And I think still that if Bitcoin is able to break through the resistance, then in my opinion, I think that we are seeing the bullish scenario play out. And in my opinion, the bullish scenario basically is that Bitcoin is going to go up from here, and we are not going to get another leg to the downside. But as long as we are below this level, I still think that the bearish scenario has validity and still has a likelihood of playing out. So that's why I'm keeping close attention to the Bitcoin price currently in this uptrend, because after this breakout, the likelihood of us breaking through this resistance dramatically increased, of course. I would love to know what you guys think. Please vote in this poll right now. Do you think that this resistance will be broken in the next 2 days or not? Something else I want to point out is over on the daily time frame. And I'm going to take a look at this daily EMA ribbon, because remember this signal. What I've been saying is that if Bitcoin breaks back above this ribbon with a daily close above, then we are entering into a bull trend based on the EMA ribbon. As you can see, when we broke it through back there in January, we entered into a bull trend. When we broke down below it, we entered into a bear trend. And you can see that basically this is a reliable indicator over time for bull trends and bear trends. And now we have gotten this signal basically that we have entered into a bull trend. This is not a guarantee that we are going to see a big bull trend in the next few weeks and months, but this is a good sign. And this is why I'm pointing this out now, because I do think that we need to take this signal seriously based on previous performance from this EMA ribbon. And as always, if you want to use my affiliate links down below, feel free to do so. Disclaimer is I make a commission off of every click and every sign up here. And if you are an experienced trader, you can try these Bitcoin trading platforms. If you deposit 0.2 Bitcoin, you can get up to 112 over on Phoenix. And if you deposit 0.5 Bitcoin over on Bybit, you can get up to $1.5 thousand in bonus. Next up, so the Bitcoin halving is coming up in 17 days, 22 hours, 29 minutes, 33 seconds. It is getting closer and closer. And we can also see that it's only 2,584 blocks until the halving. I'm checking this website every single day now. I think that this is such an amazing event. I think that the halving will bring so much attention to Bitcoin, especially right now in the midst of the huge quantitative easing we're seeing. And this image is very, very telling, because for people that don't understand, the Bitcoin halving is the opposite to quantitative easing. It's quantitative hardening, because this is the first time in human history that we have an asset that will by itself conduct quantitative hardening over time without anyone deciding that this is going to happen or anyone that can stop this from happening. This is truly unique. So actually I could just summarize the halving as Bitcoin and the Bitcoin halving is the antidote to inflation. And most of you have probably already heard this quote, but I am going to read it to you again, because now in 2020 this quote is more powerful than ever. This is by Henry Ford. He said, "It is well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning." And just like I said yesterday or 2 days ago, I think that all these handouts of 1.2 thousand, I think this is just a cheap way for governments to basically pay off their citizens to keep them from starting a revolution. It seems like you get a piece of the cake when you get 1.2 thousand in your hand, but guys, you are not getting the better part of this deal, and this will soon be very obvious to the citizens of the world as we see this financial crisis escalate and we see more bailouts for big companies. Soon the big bailouts for the big banks are going to take place. And like I said, you are not going to get the good part of this deal. We the normal people, the citizens, we are the losers in this big monetary system, in this big inflation game. And Tyler Winklevoss said over on Twitter, running out of toilet paper? Don't worry, the Fed is printing more. And next up, another big whale alert as someone transfers the equivalent of Taylor Swift's net worth for less than $1. Now, I'm not really sure why we're doing this connection to Taylor Swift, but let's just take a look at the volume here. Someone moved almost 49,000 Bitcoin worth almost $400 million. And the interesting part here is that the fee was a ridiculous 63 cents. And just like Crypto said here over on Twitter, show me one bank which can do that. And obviously there is no bank in the world that can transfer this amount of money for these low fees. If the bank even agrees to make the transfer, which is not a obvious thing, it's not guaranteed, they will take a huge fee. They will also ask you to wait until tomorrow morning if you're lucky. Probably in many countries you might have to wait a few days. And if you're doing a big international transfer, sometimes you have to wait maybe 2 weeks. So this is yet a clear example of how Bitcoin is completely changing the game for online international value transfers. And next up, halving mentions spike on Twitter and in crypto media. So the halving hype is getting bigger and bigger. And let's take a look at this chart. We can see this is articles mentioning Bitcoin and the halving, coronavirus or gold, 30-day sum. So we can see that halving articles are in blue, coronavirus in red, and gold in yellow. And we can see that the interest in gold is also on the rise currently as the price is going up and we see financial crisis playing out, so it makes sense. And of course, coronavirus spiked like crazy here as we saw the curve going exponential. But we are seeing a small little breather, so to speak, here in the coronavirus interest. Maybe this is starting to go down. However, the interest in the Bitcoin halving is clearly on the rise. And if you look at it, it does seem like we have an exponential looking function here where this is probably going to take off to the upside even in the next few weeks here as we see the halving coming closer. So I'm expecting this halving hype to increase dramatically day over day in an exponential fashion. And next up, Raoul Pal predicts when Bitcoin price could reach $1 million. So this is Raoul Pal. Most of you probably already know who he is. And in his latest issue of the Unfolding Report, he says that Bitcoin could hit $1 million in the next 5 years. And I just want to share my opinion about that. Personally, I think that $1 million is very, very likely, very probable even. But I personally don't think that it's going to take place in the next 5 years. That's a little bit too optimistic in my view. But within the next 10 years, I'm pretty sure. In the next 15 years, I'm very sure that this is going to take place. So he says that the gold market cap is about 15 trillion. I'm not really sure if that number is correct, but nonetheless, it is very close to that. And he says that it wouldn't be crazy for Bitcoin to reach 10 trillion market capitalization. And I think it is fair to compare gold and Bitcoin. And I think that for the long-term prediction of Bitcoin, it makes a lot of sense to make this kind of assumption. I just don't think we're going to reach 1 million in the next 5 years. I think that we would be lucky to reach 300,000 or 400,000 in the next 5 years. And also, I'm talking about today's money. So with inflation and a few tens of trillions of dollars in quantitative easing, sure, it's possible that Bitcoin reaches 5 million sooner than I expect. But in today's money, if we adjust for inflation, I don't think we're going to reach that number. And speaking of adjusting for inflation, I just want to show you this gold chart, because when you look at the gold chart on TradingView, it looks like gold is at an all-time high almost, and that we're basically very, very high compared to the 80s. But if you do this inflation adjusted chart, you can see that the gold price was much, much, much higher back in the 80s. And if gold was to come back to the levels back then, well, then the gold price would have to go back to $9,000 per ounce. And I'm not saying that this is going to happen in the next few years, but I think that in this big dollar collapse that I'm expecting, I think that gold will eventually take back a lot of the value that was stolen from it and diluted into fiat currencies. And I think that gold and Bitcoin are both going to benefit from this value transfer, so to speak. And in that case, I can clearly see gold going at least 5x, maybe even 10x. So it is definitely possible for gold to go way above $5,000, up towards $10,000. But then again, this is also more of a long-term prediction, maybe 5-10 years or something like that. Please leave your comments down below. What do you think about gold? Do you think gold is a good investment in this financial crisis? And what's your gold prediction for the next 10 years? Please leave all of your gold price predictions down below right now. I would love to read all of your price predictions. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, please go down and leave a thumbs up. It really helps out. Let's see if we can push this video to 3,000 likes. Thank you very much for watching. And if you haven't seen this video, then click right there right now. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.